What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name is Michael Roman, aka Allfires. Now, some of you may have seen the headline already, but this broke late yesterday from Daniel RPK that apparently there is a new casting grid that involves two specific characters for the upcoming X-Men reboot. Interestingly enough, one of those characters happens to be Gambit, and we had heard such positive things from Ryan Reynolds about how Marvel felt about Channing Tatum's Gambit, we sort of assumed he may be sticking around for the role in the future. This makes it sound very different. We're going to break down exactly what was said, what it means for the upcoming X-Men reboot in the MCU, and what's going on with these two characters as far as a new team formation. But first, if you could, grab the subscribe button. We do daily Marvel content at the channel, that's all we do. Hit the sub button, leave a comment down below. That'll automatically enter you for our PS5 giveaways. Stick around at the end of the video, we get into all the giveaway stuff again there. Okay, so this was the latest X-Men scoop breaking late yesterday from Daniel RPK. You guys can follow him over on Twitter at RPK News. This was his latest update via Patreon, that according to a recent casting grid, Kitty Pryde and Gambit will be on the new team for the X-Men reboot. Now, interestingly enough, we've had a couple of these team updates and they sort of look different every time. There was one previous report that said that Gambit and Kitty Pryde would be involved in the team, but since then, things had changed a little bit. And the only real scoop that we've had that's hold any concrete evidence was that Hugh Jackman might end up being the Wolverine for the future MCU X-Men, and so they'll probably leave him off of the first team in the reboot film because he wouldn't be a part of that. But I think the real scoop here is deeper than what the scoop actually says. The first one is the point I made and during the prologue that it's interesting Gambit would be on a casting grid. It's interesting he would be on a casting grid because a lot of reports indicated Marvel and Kevin Feige specifically were, quote, in love, the words Ryan Reynolds used to describe how they felt about Channing Tatum's Gambit. And that sort of promised that there might be a future for the character, especially when you add in that deleted post-credit scene that showed a portal coming back to get Gambit out of the void. Now, obviously, there's room for him to exist as the MCU Gambit maybe in the next couple of films like Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, and I would even bet on him being in Avengers Secret Wars, but this makes it sound like that's where the end of it would be. Channing Tatum will have a chance to play Gambit here in the end of the Multiverse Saga. We'll get a new Gambit right around the corner, though, for the X-Men reboot that's coming in the Mutant Saga post-Secret Wars, and maybe that's okay, and maybe that's what this implies, so maybe Channing Tatum's not done just yet. But if there is a casting grid that has Gambit on it, that means that Remy LeBeau is a new actor going forward. That's a pretty huge scoop. We're getting a new Gambit in the MCU. But taking this line of thought maybe one step further, why in the world is there a casting grid where we know they're still writing the script, the movie's not filming for the next 3 or 4 years, and by all reports there is no director yet attached to the X-Men? Oh yeah, that's right. We just got the report days ago that the Russos signed a massive deal that they are going to oversee the X-Men in the foreseeable future. The X-Men was named by title and oversee the Mutant Saga. So to be fair, where I've basically stuck by there would be no casting grid yet, and all these rumors we've been hearing about Storm or Sadie Sink for Jean Grey, there's no truth to that because there's no director, there's no casting for a script that's not done yet. If the directors are truly going to be the Russos, if that's what that report meant and it kind of felt like it was, then you can see how maybe they're already starting to look forward to and how Secret Wars will set up the X-Men and make sure that they have some continuity in the whole thing. And then I would think that maybe they would want to get around to casting some of these new X-Men for the future MCU now. Instead of bringing Channing Tatum's Gambit back, which I'm all for, cast the new Gambit and give him a chance to be a part of the Multiverse Saga. What better way to endear people to these characters and give us emotional attachment before the X-Men reboot movie ever happens? And look, Marvel Studios might not want to do that because it might take some of the wind out of the sails of introducing a new team in a new movie, but it would also give the Russos an opportunity to work with these characters before they get to the X-Men reboot, and it really helps them set up whatever they're hoping to try to pull off in future movies. The earlier they get to it, the better off they'll be. And while I will give the nod to actually Age of Ultron for probably being one of the Marvel movies during the Infinity Saga that really set up so much going forward, the Russos were still able to work on Winter Soldier and Civil War before they got to Infinity War and Avengers Endgame, and there is no way that that didn't help. They have that same opportunity now, not just in Doomsday to set up Secret Wars, then in turn use Doomsday and Secret Wars to set up the next X-Men film. But look, it's pretty clear during the scoop he says that it's a casting grid for the X-Men reboot. He says those words. It's not for 2 Avengers movies. Yeah, maybe the Russos are working on that now. I still think that this is way far out from X-Men casting. Regardless if there's a grid, no matter what state the script is in, even if the Russos are attached to direct, their plate is full. Literally, they have so much to focus on. I highly doubt we are going to get any sort of concrete X-Men casting announcements this summer at SDCC, or next summer if they even do an SDCC between Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, and they might not. Remember, they skipped a year in between Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. So look, we could be a strong 2.5, 3 years from them dragging the entire new X-Men team out on the stage for San Diego Comic-Con. It is going to be a lot of rumors between now and then for actors who are attached to these roles. All I'm trying to say is that while we will do our best to cover every single one, maybe I have just a little bit of a hangover from those Fantastic Four rumors. Some of these actors, have come out and said that they were never tied to the roles. Who knows if there's any truth to that? They don't want to admit that they weren't or that it didn't work out, etc. But look, at the end of the day, we did finally get the correct Fantastic Four casting leaked out. Those were the final names that came out for about 2 months before Marvel made it official. We knew who they were. In the same way that we knew who Cleo was, we knew the Charlize Theron scoop way early. We found out about Harrison Ford way early as Red Hulk. We found out about Tenoch Huerta playing Namor. I reported that on the channel like almost a year and a half before Marvel made it official. We also found out about Adam Warlock's casting early as well. Basically, there's just too many people involved in Hollywood. When an actor lands a huge role like this, it ends up making its way to the Hollywood trades. But that's, sort of towards the end of the line. And I shudder to think, sort of a pun worked into there, about what sort of names are going to come to the forefront and just how many castings we're going to hear about. Can you imagine how many Jean Greys and Cyclops are going to get cast in the rumor mill between now and when that ends up being true? Of course, we try to stick to the industry insiders. And again, some of those names that came up from Fantastic Four might have actually been true. I don't know if Adam Driver's ever confirmed it, but man, he was, Reed Richards for a solid 2 months there. Margot Robbie was supposed to be his counterpart, if you remember those original rumors. And it's just like, at some rate, this is going to happen for the X-Men probably times 10, which I'm all prepared for it. I'm just telling you, we are real early in the game. So, we're in the first quarter, put your game face on, and hopefully do better than my Buffalo Bills. Quick side note, if you've been watching the channel for a while, you're also an NFL fan. I am a diehard Buffalo Bills fan. I watch every game. I wear jerseys on the weekends. I'm all in, and my heart breaks, literally, for every Buffalo fan who had to experience that game with me this weekend. It was terrible. That said, congratulations to the Chiefs and the Eagles again. You get Taylor Swift in the big game. I know the NFL likes that, and I'm going to go cry in the shower. Guys, let me know all your thoughts down below. If they are recasting Gambit for the X-Men reboot, who do you got as the new Gambit? I actually have one. I will let you guys know in a future video on it, but I know exactly who I would pick because he looks exactly like Gambit. I'm all ears as always. Quickly, let's get into the giveaway stuff before I let you go. All right. We are still giving away PlayStations at the channel, like 1 million of them this year. Okay, not 1 million. There's 9 Marvel drops, one for everyone. All you got to do is be a sub, leave a comment. That simple. See you in the next video. Peace.